So here, the next is Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. So Sanatan, Rupa Goswami, and Anupam, those are the three brothers basically, and out of which Sanatan and Rupa Goswami at that time were the chief ministers and financial ministers in the state of Bengal, and it was ruled by a Muslim king. And you can imagine the billionaires and millionaires or multi-millionaires here now what we see. And Sanatan and Rupa Goswami were having multifold uh, the power, prestige, and material opulences around him, because those were the ministers appointed by the king, and because of their talent and skills. But the true fact is, although those were the external view of Sanatan and Rupa Goswami, internally they were very detached. They were pure Vaishnavas, descended from the spiritual world, and they were very scholarly in Bhav Bhakti as well. Their intense desire internally was to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And although they were having all these material opulences, they were always detached. They always have that renunciation bhav from within, and they were never entangled in this material or is this material, all these uh, materialistic things that they possess, which is currently seen as to be the superior. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were there uh, in Puri, and Sanatan and Rupa Goswami had the opportunity to give up all of these material opulences and go to Puri to associate and take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they did it at once and gave all of their property, they gave all of their position, fame, everything which came with that particular state of affairs from the Bengal or the Muslim king. They gave it all once away and surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu basically gave Sanatan and Rupa Goswami various services, and there were 4 principal services which is stated over here: to uncover Sri Chaitanya's pastime places, to build temple, to install deities, and arrange for their puja, archana, and most importantly, compile bhakti scriptures. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself did not write anything, he only wrote the Shishtastakam. But the rest of the great scriptures which are written, and currently they are pillars for us as in the Gaudiya Vaishnava, like the ones which I have stated here, the literature which have been written by Sanatan Goswami is like the Brihad Bhagavatam Amrita, then Haribhakta Vilas and Krishna Lila Stvava. So all of these forms the pillars which propagates the knowledge of who we are and how is our sambandha with the Supreme Lord, and how do we need to perform our devotional service, what is Bhava Bhakti, and it goes to the details of it. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he himself gave in Puri, Sanatan Goswami, the entire ideas, and I mean to say entire scholarly idea, as well as the knowledge of Bhava Bhakti, Sambandha Gyan to Sanatan Goswami. And hence we say Sanatan Goswami as to be a Sambandha Guru as well. So that was the greatness of Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. And keeping this in mind, who Sanatan and Rupa Goswami, let's go back to our story where Sanatan Goswami visited the Vrindavan Dham, and then he visited the Brahmin to whom the deity which is Radha Madan Mohan deity, which was given by Sri Advaita Acharya to Purushottam Chobe. He visited that home. Basically, Sanatan Goswami was going door to door because he is a renunciate. So he goes door to door for seeking for Vriksha by practicing Madhukari. So as he did, he happened to stumble across this particular home who belongs to Purushottam Chobe. And at that time, it was a etiquette to invite, if such an exalted person comes, invite to your home, have kirtan and have prasadam. So Purushottam Chobe, being a perfect grihastha and an elevated soul, he invited Sanatan Goswami to his home, and he said that I'll be offering you a Krishna Prasad. I have already offered it to the Krishna. I'll just take that plate and then serve it to you. as he was doing, Sanatan Goswami was taken aback because what he saw is Purushottam Chobe was actually chastising that deity, Sri Radha Madan Mohan. Also, he was picking up the stick and saying that why haven't not finished the prasadam? It's now gone cold. So with that bhav, because his bhav was Vrajavasi bhav. So basically, he was in Vatsalya mode. He was looking the deity as his own child. But be careful, it's not the Vatsalya bhav that we have for our children, which is mixed with other propensities. This is a pure Vatsalya bhav that a Brajvasi would have. And mind well, we should not misunderstand that this particular bhav, we should not try to imitate, because these are genuinely coming from the devotee who is very exalted in his sadhana. So keeping that in mind, Sanatan Goswami was taken aback that, oh, I think I need to instruct him how to perform the devotee worship, deity worship, because chastising would be mean offense to a deity. So Sanatan Goswami actually mentioned to Purushottam Chobe, the Grahasa, that is the Brahmin, how to perform the deity worship in a systematic and etiquette. And that's how one has to do it. So Purushottam Chobe, he accepted it as an instruction, and then he also started doing it on the same day itself. That's how he started doing the change in the deity worship and improved upon it. When Sanatan Goswami went back to his place of dwelling, at that night, Sri Radha Mohan Mohan appeared in his dreams. And same Radha Mohan Mohan also appeared in the Brahmin's house in his dream. So to Sanatan Goswami, he mentioned that for quite a few years, have been there staying with his family members, and their children who are playing with me. And the Purushottam Chobe, he was having this Brajavasi bhav, and actually I was enjoying it until when you came, and now you have instructed him how to perform this devotee worship. Deity worship, and now he has changed his mood altogether. So I'm really not comfortable in that. I'm really not satisfied now. So you come to me, and I'm come to this Brahmin's house and take me from there, and now you take care of me. And he instructed Radha Mohan Mohan also instructed the Brahmin in his dream that Sanatan Goswami, you gave me as a dakshina to Sanatan Goswami, and he will take care of me. So both, since they both are exalted devotees basically, and then the deity was actually moved and been handed over to Sanatan Goswami. So Sanatan Goswami was taking care of the deities as he was a perfect learned in that process of bhakti, and also he has that bhav of being the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, and that's what we also need to learn. We should not imitate the devotee and try to see or act in a Vatsalya bhav, but we should always consider the deities to be the topmost, and then their servants are the ones who are serving them, and we need to be their servant of their servant of their servant of their servant. With that bhava in mind, we need to serve, and we should not imitate any Vatsalya bhav. So when the deities was with Sanatan Goswami, he was a renunciate, so he did not had any nice luxury of providing things to the deity Madan Mohan. And he was a renunciate, so he has to go and practice Madhukari. Madhukari would mean that just like a sannyasi, the person being renunciate has to go from door to door, beg for alms, and whatever he receives, it accepts it as the mercy of Krishna. And since the deity was with him, he has to, make a roti out of it and then offer it to the deity Madan Mohan. So the deity once said to Sanatan Goswami that, my dear Sanatan, you are offering me this roti, but this is dry. At least could you just offer it with some pinch of salt so that I could have it? So that was the deity speaking to Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami, with folded hand, he said, my dear Lord, you know my position. I'm just a renunciate, and this is the best I could give, and I could offer to you. So kindly accept it and forgive for any offenses caused. So you can just taking a pause here, just try to analyze or understand this particular loving exchange which is happening between the deity and his pure devotee. The deity Madan Mohan is none other than Krishna, and Krishna is also known as Jagannath. Jagannath, who is the Lord of the universe or universes. So basically, everything which is contained within the universe and beyond belongs to Krishna. He is the supreme proprietor, and yet he is asking for a pinch of salt from his devotee. So basically, Krishna is not hungry for anything. He is hungry for love from his devotee. So that's the beauty of how the loving exchange was happening between Sanatan Goswami and Madan Mohan deity. So on very next day, there was another pastime which happened when a merchant named Ram Kapoor, he was traveling using the waterways. He was traveling via a boat, and he was having a lots of materials like edible things, oil, salt, and a lot of things to be delivered in Agra market so that he could sell them and earn some living out of it. So when the boat was traveling and came to Vrindavan, the boat got stuck into the mud of the bank of the river. And then he was in very much anxiety of what will happen, because this is all he had, and else he will go bankrupt now. So at that time, Madan Mohan again appeared as a cowherd boy, and he came to meet this merchant. His name is Ram Kapoor. And he guided him to go and speak to the person on the temple, on the top of the hill, who was Sanatan Goswami. He guided him to Sanatan Goswami and begged for some help. And he will definitely guide you. By saying it, he ran away in the fields. So there was no other option, and he had the faith in that cowherd boy. So the merchant went up the hill, and then he saw Sanatan Goswami was performing deity worship. And it was the same cowherd boy who appeared earlier, and now he has gone back to his temple and be the deity in front of Sanatan Goswami as if nothing has happened. So at that point in time, Ram Kapoor, the merchant, was asking for help from Sanatan Goswami. So Sanatan Goswami said that you better intensely pray to the deities, Madan Mohan, and definitely they will provide you the solution. And with that instruction, he deeply and very intensely prayed for help. And also he wanted to do some seva, but he did not have any Lakshmi on him. So what he did is that since he was carrying a lot of salts with him, which was supposed to be sold in the market, he gave some of it to Radha Madan Mohan. And Madan Mohan was already asking for salt, and he provided the salt with love and devotion. So after doing it, he came back to the banks of the river, where he saw that surprisingly the water of Yamuna has rose, and that the boat is again floating. And then he took the boat and went to Agra and sell everything what he had to do for his living. And then he came back again to pay the obeisances to the deity, and also to offer some seva to Sanatan Goswami. He came back because he was feeling that a lot of gratitude in his heart, and he wanted to do something for the deity as well as Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami said that, see, look, I'm just a renunciate. I don't need all of your wealth or whatever you have brought. But if you could do something, do it for the deity, because I don't have proper setup where there is a temple or there is a cooking place, or a nice offering could be done to my deity Radha Madan Mohan. So if you could provide that, would be your service. And Ram Kapoor accepted that service. He built a huge temple there, and he made all those facilities which are necessary for a clean devotional and deity worship, and he made those arrangements. So to take a moment here, there are quite a few learnings, but at least there are primary two learnings here. One is Krishna will, when he comes into our lives, he will guide you to devotees, Vaishnavas, and spiritual masters. And if we trust and approach them submissively and hear their instructions and execute them, our life will be transformed. The same thing happened here with Ram Kapoor. as Krishna guided him to Sanatan Goswami, he actually intensely heard and acted under his guidance. Another learning is basically Sanatan Goswami is a pure devotee. He's a transcendental person. And such a pure devotee, it does not expect anything from him. He's just satisfied that his deities, the lordships, are getting the best, or they have been served. So with that mood, we need to not imitate, but we need to learn from it and try to pray intensely in order to have that mood, so that we can prepare ourselves to serve the deities better, to serve the Vaishnavas better, than to expect anything for us. So similarly, after this pastime, there was another pastime when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, as we know, he's the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita. But when he was being asked to take this particular seva and write the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was hesitant. One, he was almost like 93 years old, so even his hand would shake, and he had those doubt in self that he is not qualified, and even for old age, if he starts, whether he will be able to complete this seva or not. So since he was having self-doubt, he went to Sri Radha Madan Mohan in order to seek blessings and seek guidance. And when he bowed down to the deity, basically the garland from the deity fell onto Krishnaraj Kaviraj Das Goswami. So basically it was said that it is a Agyamala, that is permission to proceed. And it is given by Sri Radha Madan Mohan to proceed ahead with writing of the scripture Chaitanya Charitamrita, which he did. And this forms one of the pivotal scriptures that a Gaudiya Vaishnava needs to listen to and understand the philosophy, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been saying, and the Samanya Gyan, and then use those practical knowledge in our personal life to transform our lives. There was another pastime basically. So where up till now we have seen that the deity name is Sri Radha Madan Mohan. But when the deity which was carved by the Vishwakarma, it was Madan Mohan. But it is to be understood that Radha and Krishna are not separate forms, or those are not separate entities. Radha and Krishna are one entity. And Radha always resides in the heart of Krishna. So when this Madan Mohan deity was being worshipped, it was always worshipped with the understanding that Radharani is residing in the heart of Krishna, and hence it is Sri Radha Madan Mohan. So what happened is the Purushottam Jana, he was a son of the king Pratap Rudra in Jagannath Puri, and these were the devotees as well, exalted devotees. So he said that it would be better to also install Srimati Radharani externally besides the Madan Mohan, so that it is understood that Srimati Radharani is also served along with Krishna. And it was for the common public, this understanding to be given. So he sent two deities of Srimati Radharani to Vrindavan, and those were received by the devotees there. And the pujari at the deity, and the pujari who received this particular deity, the same deity came into his dreams. She was Srimati Radharani. Basically, she was Radhika, and named Radhika. So she mentioned that there are two deities, and the person who sent Purushottam Jana, he may not know this, but the bigger deity is of Lalita Saki, and you need to install Lalita Saki on the right hand side of Madan Mohan, and myself, who is Radhika, Srimati Radharani, you need to install it to the left of Madan Mohan. And you can see in the picture, these are the same two deities which were installed thereafter. So these were some of the pastimes of the deities. And I don't know, Prabhuji, it's almost 45 minutes. I hope we have some more time.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. So after that, after having that installation, there was a grand feast, and everyone enjoyed the arrival of Srimati Radharani and Lalita Sakhi. And thereafter, but as we know, India was invaded by a lot of external emperors like Mughals and Aurangzeb and so on. So in 1670s, a lot of temples in Vrindavan Dham, unfortunately, were impacted. Those were destroyed by these Mughals. But devotees, out of love and care, they have secretly taken off those deities and they have moved it to Jaipur. And currently, the deities have further moved to Karoli because the princess of Jaipur then later got married to the prince of Karoli, and then she was very much attached to these deities, and hence she requested in order to move those deities to Karoli, and a magnificent, beautiful temple which you see in this photograph was built at that time by Shri Raj Gopal Sinha, and it is still there. If you want to have a darshan of these deities, you may have to go to Karoli, which is in Jaipur, Rajasthan. And further to say that we have understood that Sri Radha Madan Mohan is a Sambandha Murti, and we also understand that Sanatan Goswami is our Sambandha Guru. So we need to intensely pray to the lotus feet of the deity, Sambandha deity, and the Guru, uh, for seeking their seeking their shelter and realize that who we are and what is our sambandha with the Supreme Lord, and in that knowledge seek their shelter in order to continuously read and imbibe and try to rejuvenate the lost relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna by through his chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So with this, I'll just take a pause. Prabhuji, I hope I have not offended or said something wrong. So I beg for forgiveness from all the assembled Vaishnavas.
Hare Krishna. You can hear us slowly?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can hear.
So thank you very much, Santal Prabhu. It was a wonderful presentation. Like the way you beautifully started with, the significance of Madan Mohan, how Madan Mohan deity is there, even to subdue the power of Madan, the Cupid. All of us are subdued by Madan, Cupid, the lusty desires. But once you take shelter of Madan Mohan, yes, we can also conquer our this all-pervading enemy, and there's a lust, the kama, and that's a very beautiful. And then we really started talking about how Madan Mohan Mohini is Radharani, and then you went on further to talk about like how this beautiful deity manifested in Vrindavan, and then how subsequently it carried over, and Advaita Acharya brought it up, and in that near Advaita Bhatt. So how many of you have been to Vrindavan here, online, offline? So very happy to see the devotees here offline. All of you have been to Vrindavan. And Prabhuji, maybe if you can share the screen of Radha Madan Mohan deity, just like the temple.
Oh, sorry.
The previous slide. Yes. So this is the the landmark of Vrindavan. So this is the Radha Madan Mohan temple, and this is just on the bank of Yamuna. अब जब हम वृंदावन की परिक्रमा करते हैं, usually हम कृष्ण बलराम मंदिर से चालू करते हैं. So once you go to first this Radha, like in this Vrindavan परिक्रमा, first we come across this Madan Ter, जहाँ पे ये Madan Mohan first times happened, and then we come across क्या आता है फिर उसके बाद? Anybody? And then as और वृंदावन परिक्रमा के रास्ते में पहले आएगा सबसे पहले कालिया दहन, कालिया दमन का लेक, I think all of us should go to Vrindavan. For yatra, yes, it must go. It's a beautiful place. So it is, Vrindavan Ramya Sthan, the most beautiful place. And so in the Parikram, पहले मदन तेर आता है, फिर हमारे इस्कन गौशाला, फिर उसके बाद कालिया तमन. So now also you can find that tree where Lord had climbed down and jumped to the Kalia lake to subdue the Kalia serpent. And thoda sa aage jayenge, just on the road on the Parikrama, on the right hand side we find this temple, right? And ye jo दिख रहा है staircase, so we really go up and ये थोड़ा सा दिख रहा है ये, right? Like उसको बोलते द्वादश आदित्य टीला. जब भगवान वहां से कालिया लेक से आए, it was feeling very cold, he subdued कालिया with his so much strength. लेकिन जब बाहर आए, all the ब्रजवासी लोग, मेरे कान को ठंडा लग रहा है अभी. You see the love of Brajavasi. He can tolerate the fire that was coming out of the Kalia, the poison that was coming out of Kalia, and he could subdue the Kalia, which nobody could really face. But then Brajavasi's love is that and then he came out, and the Lord also wanted to give service to everybody, so he laid down right there, and Dvadas Aditya, the 12th sun appeared to give hit to Lord, so that उनको ठंडी नहीं लग जाए, right? And that's the place. दो मंदिर है इसे दिख रहे होंगे. So once again this temple also was in a way partially destroyed by the Mughals, but like just near that there is also a bhajan kutir of Sanatan Goswami. So Prabhuji इतना सुंदर सा pastime बताए. What is the pastime he said? He was giving bhati. Right? तो फिर भगवान ने क्या बोले उनको? So ऐसा नहीं है, Lord is reciprocating. If we really offer him with love and devotion, the Lord will demand, मेरे को ये चाहिए, not that he can offer anything. Right? So that place is there where Sanatana Goswami was really offering party, right? And right, so if we can really see that place, and just next to that temple also there is also Sanatana Goswami Samadhi Mandir also is there, especially in Braj Mandal, Vrindavan, Govardhan. Sanatana Goswami is regarded very, very reverentially, very respectfully. That's why the Tiruhav day of disappearance of Sanatana Goswami is celebrated as Guru Purnima. Everybody on the Braj, they come together and do the Parikram. Right? So as we can see, this today's Vrindavan is nothing but the contribution of Sri Goswamis or 6 Goswamis, like who are followers of Mahaprabhu. So whatever we see, that's why Vrindavan Ramya Sthan, we have so much of respect. The Prabhuji elaborated about the deity, how they manifested, and how the deity also went to Jaipur. So while all these deities, like last time we heard about Radha Gopinji deity, today we heard about Radha Madan Mohanji, and maybe next time we'll hear from Prabhuji on Radha Gopinathji. And they traveled from Vrindavan through Radha Kund to Jaipur. And wherever the deities rested, in those places there are Pratibhu Murtis are there. So like हम जब वृंदावन जाएंगे, Krishna willing, there is a place in Radha Kund, right, in Govardhan, right? Govardhan's main place is Radha Kund and Sham Kund. From the Radha Kund, on the bank of Radha Kund and Sham Kund, we will also see the Pratibhu Murtis of Radha Madan Mohanji, Gopinathji, Govindji, and so on. And then from there they want to Kamyavan. So that Kamyavan also is a very beautiful place. There also see all the deities. Well, all the deities are traveling from these places to Jaipur, on the way to Jaipur. The original deity is one of the deities, Radha Raman, is a deity of Gopala Goswami. Here, one of Radha Raman group presents. So that is the deity. They didn't go with this very small deity, so they could really hide the deity there. There's another deity of Vrinda Devi. Vrinda Devi, really who was really organizing all the activities of Radharani, and she was also being carried from Vrindavan to Radha Kund to Kamyavan. But then, while she was in Ramyavan, she told the devotees who are caring, my place is Vrindavan because I'm Vrindavan and I'm here to serve eternally. I'll not go. So that's why the original deity of Vrindadevi will find in Ramyavan. So, like once again, it's really depending on our love and devotion and however we offering our love, our bhav to the Lord, Lord reciprocates. They really hear our desire and they give us an opportunity to serve. Right. So yeah, and then Prabhuji talked about how, especially Mother Mohan's deity, because of the desire of that princess. She didn't want, I don't want any dowry from my kingly parent. I want the deity. Right? She brought the deity from Jaipur and Karoli. So usually, हम जब वृंदावन यात्रा जाते हैं, like I remember in 2016 or so, हम यात्रा गए थे, so we spent Vrindavan, Govardhan, and all the places, Varsana, and so on. And then we traveled to Jaipur. And on the way, we find Karoli. तो करौली में थोड़ा सा भगवान के दर्शन करते हैं, फिर जयपुर जाते हैं, फिर all these deities like Govind ji and Gopinath and Radha Madhav, Vinodila, Radha Damodar, and all the original deities are in Jaipur. Okay, thank you very much, Kuntal Prabhu, for your wonderful presentation. Hare Krishna. So, any questions or comments? Maybe 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, Prabhuji, why two deities of Radharani and Vishakha was sent? Why only not one Radharani?
Yeah. Lord always wants to be with the associates. Like that's why, especially in our Gaudiya Parampara, we don't worship Krishna alone, because Krishna always wants to be with the associates. With Radharani and Lalita, Vishakha, Astasakhi, or at least the cows or the cowherd boys, or Krishna Balaram, and so on. And that's why in our Mayapur,
Mayapur we have Astasakhi.
Yeah. In Tirupati we have Astasakhi, or we have Lalita, Vishakha, at least Radharani. Yes. Lord's desire to be with his dear associates.
Got it, Prabhu. Got it. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Wonderfully explained. So we have come to know so many things about Madan Mohan, Sri Madan Mohan and all. So very wonderfully explained. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so like these are like, once you are saying that we are part of this Gaudiya Parampara, Brahma Madhav Gaudiya Sampradaya, I think we'll talk about all this philosophy today. But for our Sampradaya, these are the primary deities. Like Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govindji, Radha Gopinath, Radha Raman, Radha Shyam Sundar. And so we should know more about them because they are our Ishtadevs.
Thank you very much.
You can read one paragraph. Yeah.
The nectar of the holy name, the Hare Rama verse in the Brahman Naradiya Purana. After this incident, the Lord ate raw rice given by Sukambara Brahmachari and explained very elaborately the import of the Hare Rama sloka mentioned in the Brahman Naradiya Purana. Hare Rama, Hare Ram,
Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nameva Kevalam, Palo Nasteva, Nasteva, Gatir Anda.
In this age of Kali, there is no other means for self-realization than chanting the holy name of Lord Hari.
In this age of Kali, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. Anyone who does this is certainly delivered. This verse repeats the word Eva, certainly 3 times for emphasis. And it also 3 times repeats Hare Nama, the holy name of the Lord, just to make common people understand. The use of the word Kevalam, only, prohibits all other processes, such as cultivation of knowledge, practice of mystic yoga, and performance of austerities and fruitive activities. This verse clearly states that anyone who accepts any other path cannot be delivered. This is the reason for the triple repetition, nothing else, nothing else, nothing else, which emphasizes the real process of the self-realization.
Emphasize something to an ordinary person, one may repeat it 3 times. Just as one might say, you must do this, you must do this, you must do this. Thus, the Brihan Naradiya Purana repeatedly emphasizes the chanting of the holy name so that people may take it seriously and thus free themselves from the clutches of Maya. Our Krishna consciousness movement stresses the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra only, whereas those who do not know the secret of success for this age of Kali unnecessarily indulge in the cultivation of knowledge, the practice of mystic yoga, or the performance of fruitive activities or useless austerities. They are simply wasting their time and misleading their followers. When we point this out very plainly to an audience, members of opposing groups become angry at us. But according to the injunctions of the Shastras, we cannot make compromises with these so-called Jnanis, Yogis, Karmis, and Tapasvis. When they say they are as good as we are, we must say that only we are good and that they are not good. This is not our obstinacy. It is the injunction of the Shastras. We must not deviate from the injunctions of the Shastras.
Thank you very much. We understand now how important it is based on the scripture. Chant the holy name of the Lord. Let's take shelter of Panchatattva. Chant on the
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti
Hare Krishna Mahamantra Yajna ki La Prabhupada. Let's proceed for the breakout. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Or Dr. Amresh Prabhu.
What happened, Prabhuji?
Yeah, looks
Actually,
like
We are not able to go back.
no, we are not able to.
no.
Yeah,
You're in the main room. This is main room. We are the ones who
We are in
came.
the main room only. Okay,
Ah.
Prabhuji, thank you.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are the early bird.
Yeah, we are the early bird. Yes.
See, different thing. But only 5 participants are there.
Yeah, we have this BK Chaudhary, Prabhuji, and Mataji. They are traveling. Then Deepak Prabhuji is on some duty. Jaswant Prabhuji on duty. So somehow our group, Radha Sahib Bhakti Vriksha group, we are very few in numbers. So we have to.
We are not going. We are not able to go to the main room, I think.
No, we are in the main room, Mataji.
We are in the main room only. Okay.
We are in the main room.
But hardly only 6 participants are there.
So that's how so people wait for automatically coming to this room. No? After some time, automatically they come. Yeah. Yes. No. Or some of the yes, they're coming.
Devi ji, Hare Krishna Prabhu ji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, प्रभु जी आपने एक मैसेज भेजा था प्रभु जी वो शिक्षा लेवल का वो ग्रुप ज्वाइन करने के लिए
हाँ
जी तो वो मैंने ज्वाइन कर लिया प्रभु जी
थैंक यू
जी अभी वो उसी पे आगे का वो प्रोसेस बताएंगे
I'll talk to you. Yeah, this is main room. Okay.
ओके ओके
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, lot of confusion. We were not able to understand whether we were in the main room or not. That also.
I was really worried if everybody is awake or, what is happening, because this is one of the toughest, like in terms of philosophical understanding of the Shastras. So,
But it was very interesting too. It was very interesting. And
It was very interesting to know more about all the acharyas.
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
And our quest is also increasing. That is the main thing. To go back and again look to that after the class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
that's our Acharya, especially our Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. He's saying that Siddhanta bolia chitte nakaro alas. Jaha hoite Krishna bhakti sudrudha manas. Sometimes we feel that, oh, philosophy, how does it matter? We should know all this in detail. Now you understood chant and be happy. That is the sum and substance of everything. Why to really understand what is Advaita, Visishta Dvaita, Dvaita, and all this, Veda Veda Tattva, right? Why, it's all required, it's all going in tangent, But our Acharya is saying that, it is important for us to really understand at least the high level, so that, right, it helps in strengthening, our faith in whatever we are doing. So we are not just doing because, okay, Deepak Prabhu is our good friend, Dipali Mataji is offering nice prasadam, or Anand Prabhu tells nice stories, or, because of them, I'm just hearing or I'm doing it. No, we are doing something based on the Shastra, which is really, there for hundreds and centuries and centuries and centuries. So yes, and now I hear that our Jayanti Mataji and all, especially good Radha Govind group, they found it most interesting, and I would like to hear from them. What is the, maybe we can summarize, what exactly your takeaway from this session, and what is the essence of today's session? Anybody from Radha Govind group would like to share? Anybody?
Prabhuji, I have one doubt. Can I ask you?
Okay, first, let's hear from Radha Govind group. If anybody is
Yes.
there, or
Yes.
either
Hemu Mataji or Jayanti Mataji, anybody wants to share specifically?
Meenakshi Mataji, unmuted.
Anybody?
Yes, Prabhuji, today is very heavy. I just try. We studied about the four this acharyas. First, what is acharya, and then the four philosophies given by different Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are different. Like Shankaracharya said that he said he talked about the God and the Jiva, but he did not connect it with the material world. Basically, his philosophy was at the time when there was atheism was there. So just it was initial to make people believe into the God. This was.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Anybody else would like to add from Radha Govind group what Meenakshi Mataji said, that how Shankaracharya evolved, especially from atheism, Buddha, like propagated like complete atheism, no faith in the Vedas, and then Shankaracharya he created that bridge between atheism to the theism.
Yes. Yes.
He propagated. Okay, let's have faith in the Vedas. Then he talked about okay, everything is one. Okay, then next.
Then Ramanujacharya.
Madhav.
Okay, sorry.
Ramanujacharya.
Ramanujacharya only, correct.
Yes.
May I should continue. Yes, Ramanujacharya, he gave this is Advaita or non-dualism. Means that he said that there is difference between the supreme and the jivas, and but he stressed on the oneness among the two. Then this was followed by Madhvacharya. He included this material world in this philosophy.
Basically, like it really evolves around like I think Prabhuji was talking in Radha Govind group 1 and 2 was saying three things, right? One is Jiva, Jagat, and Jagadisa. Jiva is really the living entities, and Jagadisa is the Supreme Lord. Jagat is the material world. So basically, the relationship among the three are really evolved over these philosophies, right? Here, like Shankaracharya, he talks about okay, right, how everything is one and the Jagat is really the Maya. And then Ramanujacharya, he talks about that okay, the whole absolute includes everything, right? It includes Jagat, it includes Jiva and also Jagat, right? And that's in one way. At the same time, Ramanujacharya, like his couple of core principles he talked about is really the surrender. That the Jiva has to surrender to Jagadish and to really go back to the Supreme Lord. And one more thing, how do we surrender and how do you really do that? By following this process of Bhakti, through this core focus is really on this Vaishnava Seva. That's why in Sri Sampradaya, whenever we come across each other, they say Adiyan. They don't say, like I have done this, or my name is this. They always say Adiyan, your servant. Like we say, like in our Sampradaya also, Sudhir Gopal Das. Don't say that Sudhir Gopal, right? Like we also say Das. That Das bhav is very prominent, right? And they really talk about Adiyan. So they never say that I did it. Okay? So that, and then they focus a lot on the Vaishnava Seva. But then as we move forward, right, Madhvacharya, he really brought it up that yes, this Jagadisa, Jagat and Jiva, they are completely different. They are distinctly different. And especially Madhvacharya, he really focuses on Dvaita. I said that yes, Mayavada Bhashya Sundara Sarvana. He was completely going and really, smashing that idea that yes, now a jiva cannot become Jagadisa, right? They are always different, and that's what he was proposing. And another, like all of you might have, any of you have gone to Udupi recently? You had gone to Udupi, yes, yes. And you see this beautiful Krishna temple there, and the Balram deity there, and all, especially in Madhavacharya, there is also Madhavacharya. And near Udupi also there is a place called Pajika Khetra. And there is a birthplace of Madhavacharya. You can see wonderful pastime that happened there. So maybe we should go sometime to Sri Rangam for understanding Sri Ramanujacharya's pastimes and go to Madhavacharya's place, Udupi. Right? So there, right, of course, there is also a lot of awe and reverence, right, in Madhavacharya Sampradaya. But the focus is once again now befitting this Advaitavad, and second is it Murti Puja, that they really focused a lot. And all these principles also Mahaprabhu taught, that we will discuss later. And then Mahaprabhu really brought everything together. He synthesized everything together. He said, Achintya, Veda, Aveda, Tattva. Veda is there, Aveda is there. Veda is what? Yes. Quantitatively, yes, they are different, but qualitatively, Jiva and Jagadish, they are one. Like qualitatively, right? They are Sachidananda. But because of the connection with this material world, right? They have become polluted. Like this pure water drops got polluted, and now there is a need for us to really get purified. And Mahaprabhu has really taken this principle, as we said, from Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya. He has taken this two. One is that, this surrender, prapanna. And the second thing is that Vaishnava Seva. And from Madhavacharya, right? He took what? Murti Seva, deity worship. And the second is that befitting Advaita. Of course, similarly, there are other Vaishnava Sampradayas are also there, like Kumar Sampradaya and Rudra Sampradaya. There are also some principles like from Kumar Sampradaya, he took this Gopi Bhav and how we have to take the Asraya of Radharani. Or from Rudra Sampradaya, he also took some principles. So he really synthesized all Vaishnava principles together and really helps us make it easier for us, right, to practice and to proceed. So yes, that's what Mahaprabhu has really, like, of course, especially we don't really, of course, as we heard that Shankaracharya also, he had a lot many prayers, like glorifying either Bhajagovindam or Lord Narasimha Karava.
Yeah.
Right? There are so many prayers he has written. So Mahaprabhu has taken the essence from everybody. Right? Mahaprabhu, Jagannatha Sakam also.
Yeah.
And somehow, like, at the same time, like, there are some philosophies which, he kept it away from, especially from Shankaracharya. When somebody talks about the, Advaita, non-dual, he really rejected that. But, otherwise, he took all these principles. Okay.
Prabhuji,
comments, Hema Mataji or somebody? Yes, Susma Mataji, okay, yes.
Prabhuji, Shri Vallabhacharya ji comes from Rajim, Chhattisgarh. I don't know much about him. Do you have any idea?
Okay, we'll discuss about Mataji. Yes, he comes in the Rudra Sampradaya. He comes in the Rudra Sampradaya, and especially आप वृंदावन में जाएंगे, it's like especially some temples, they are being really taken care by Vallabhacharya, and especially Chaitanya Charitamrita also there are some pastimes, which really discusses about Mahaprabhu's interaction with Vallabhacharya also. Sometime we'll discuss. So especially from Vallabhacharya Sampradaya, like or Rudra Sampradaya, right? Mahaprabhu has taken this mood of, right, like surrender, like, like the surrendering everything, once again. That's also another principle that he has taken from Vallabha Sampradaya. So, like Hema Mataji had one question, and then anybody else? Any thoughts, comments? Mataji, like, is it okay, or you have some questions? You are asking something.
No, Prabhuji, just I wanted to ask you just Shankaracharya, he was a Shivites, and then he was actually what happened is this thing was that everybody, when the Jiva and the Paramatma both are the same, he told. Okay, but he wrote Bhajagovindam, Kanakadhara, lot of this thing. But still, how come he had that this thing that Jiva and the Paramatma are the same?
Yes, so there's a little difference, right, between the philosophy and the faith. That yes, he had a faith in Krishna, but the philosophy, what he had, is really that yes, even a jiva also can become, can really become purified, can really merge into the Supreme.
This is Bhagavad Gita chapter 12. This talks about that philosophy only, initially.
Yes, like that's why Arjuna asked, right? Okay, like
yes.
whoever.
There are two ways which we can attain Lord, no?
Personalism or the personalism.
Yes,
And
yes.
how Lord Krishna answers that. Like, yes, that is also is there, but that is a very difficult
process
to attain and understand and realize. That's why Lord specifically told that yes, you should follow the process of personalism and.
Yes, developing love through Bhakti or through Murti Puja is easier than the other path.
And also, I wanted to ask you, Lord Chaitanya, did he meet Madhvacharya or Ramanujacharya? No.
Ramanujacharya, you can say like around 11th century, and maybe after 200 years, like Madhvacharya, and after 200 years, Mahaprabhu appeared. But like it is mentioned that
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled all over India.
The time gap is
South
there.
also.
Yeah, like 11th century, 13th century, and 15th century, at different point of time, and they appear.
Prabhuji, even Shankaracharya, he has re-established rather, many of the Lord Vishnu's temple like this. Badri Narayan was established by him.
He has a Govardhan March.
Yes, yes. And
one more to the goddesses, no, Prabhuji. Shankaracharya was more to the goddesses, that is deity Kanchipuram and all, Kamakshi and all those things. He was more to that, no, but Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Like of course, like he had, like okay, we can worship Lord Narayana. Like of course, he is supreme. At the same time, because he was also the manifestation of Lord Shiva. Right, he established Lord Shiva like in so many places, right? And third thing is that yes, focus a lot on Meenakshi and what is that Singeri Mat, there's so many other places, Kamakshi.
and all.
Thank you very much. So I think we're running out of time. So just have it quickly. Namaste Narasimha. And then
Piyush Prabhu is going to lead.
Yeah, Namaste Prabhuji. So, yeah, Hare Krishna. So, we'll start with the Narasimha Pranam. So, Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Praladalahine, Praladalahidahine, Hiranyakashipurvakshah, Hiranyakashipurvakshah, Shilatankanakalaye, Shilatankanikalaye, Ito Narsimha Parto Narsimha, Ito Narsimha Parto Narsimha, Yato Yami Tato Narsimha, Yato Yami Tato Narsimha, Bahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha, Bahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha, Narsimha Dem Sharanam Prapade, नरसिंहादिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरे नाखाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गं दलित हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna all.
Thank you, Piyush Prabhu. So we have here physical Vriksha today, of Deepak Prabhu, and all the kids are also here, and they have done wonderful skates and wonderful cards, and they wanted to showcase to everybody. They are bringing now. So all these Prabhuji and Mataji, yes, you can see the smiling faces of the devotees here. Yes, everybody there will show their own. You can say. So here, all the devotees are there. What you have drawn there? So it. Come closer, come closer. What is it? Krishna.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Haribo. Wonderful.
Haribo.
Haribol, beautiful, wonderful kids.
Very nice, very nice.
Oh, you see.
Very nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice, very nice.
No, we could not see that child's previous.
Haribo.
Wow.
Hare Krishna.
Great. Wow, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Oh,
So sweet.
thank you.
Hare
So
Krishna.
sweet. Thank
sweet.
you.
Very cute.
God bless you, dear. Hare
God bless
Krishna.
you.
God
Wow,
bless you.
Hare
wow,
Krishna.
wow. Hare
Hare,
Krishna. God
Hare
bless you.
Krishna. God bless you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Really very nice. God bless all of them. Hare Krishna. Wonderful.
Prabhuji
And
can't
you
hear
have
you.
also most important manifestation of the Lord. Sir Prabhu ke Saksa Darshan. Sir Prasad.
Yes,
That you would be missing.
exactly. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
आवसिया कीर्तन करना
समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय गौर प्रेमानंद। Thank you very much, all the online devotees and also assembled devotees here. Thank you very much. Look forward to it next.
We are only missing the prasad, Prabhuji. Yeah. Okay. It was a very nice section, wonderful section. Namaskar. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.